Hello, everybody, and welcome to Creature Corner, which is GDQ's Hotfix show about games that primarily feature non-human protagonists. And today on World Otter Day, we have some incredible modern Metroidvanias for you. We're going to be starting with Bow Path of the Teal Lotus by Visuals, who is going to be running any percent, and that is an SGDQ preview. You're going to be able to see that game live on the stage as well then. So get your fix in now and get excited for that run then. And then after any percent, we're going to do something special. We're going to have Visuals show off a little challenge showcase of some of the really cool stuff in Bow Path of the Teal Lotus that you cannot find in any percent. And then continuing on that sort of unconventional, theme, we've got Pseudoregalia, which is a really, really cool 3D platformer Metroidvania if you've never seen it, done by Jaxler, and we're going to do a solo randomizer of that. So you're going to see Pseudoregalia like you've never seen it before. And if you've never seen it before, then stick around because then you'll have seen it before. And hopefully that'll be true of Bo as well. It's an absolutely fantastic game. And I'd love to welcome Visuals onto the stage. Say hi.
Hola, hola. How you guys doing? Welcome to Bow Path of the Teal Lotus. I am Visuals TV, and I have Mr. Sir with me here. Hello.
Hey there.
Yep. So we're gonna have, like you said, any percent, no major glitches, some really fast and dangerous gameplay throughout the run. There's just so much here, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So it'll be whenever I click the file here. So 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, if you haven't heard of this game, it is a Metroidvania. Came out in 2017. If you're a fan of Hollow Knight, if you're a fan of Ori, Celeste, it's got a lot of elements from all of those. Specifically Hollow Knight and Ori, I think. Especially a lot of the abilities and just overall art style and whatnot. A little Okami thrown in there as well, a lot of Japanese influence. But we play as Bow, little celestial Teal Lotus here. Unlike Hollow Knight, we actually do play as the title character. And we're going to start off, we don't have anything here. We're going to make our way over to this character named Asahi, who is absolutely hilarious. Sorry, we don't get to see any of the dialogue, but if you play this game for yourself, trust me, it's so much fun reading everybody's dialogue in this game. He just puts on a little roast session of you, and I love it.
He's just so mean.
He is so mean.
You don't expect it.
But this game has an in-game timer that we actually were given for a demo speedrun competition that the devs put on before the game came out in July last year. And when the full game came out, they actually took the demo or the timer out, and it wasn't for any reason other than they just didn't know that it would be anything that we would want. And when the game came out, I asked one of the devs if it was like something that could be unlocked or if it was just taken out completely. And he said, "Oh, we just didn't know you guys would want it. Is that something you'd want back?" And I was like, "Oh my God, please, more than anything in the world, please." And so they added it back in the next patch. They've added so many things that we've asked for, and they've listened to the speedrunners constantly. And huge shout out to them, because that's what, like, this game was already so much fun to speedrun from day one, but it's just gotten better and better every time they've like asked for our feedback and listened to the people who put thousands of hours into the game.
You love responsive devs.
Oh, absolutely. And it allows PC and console to share a leaderboard because it is a loadless timer. And it also doesn't run on the menu, which means that quitting out to the menu is essentially instant teleportation. So even skipping walking 5 feet is faster to quit out to the menu.
Yep.
I was just about to say, I noticed you doing that. What exactly was the purpose of exiting out to the menu there?
So
just skipping some walking.
Yeah, skipping some walking. We needed to get 10 bamboo for him to upgrade our earring into a staff, giving us a staff at all. We didn't have one at the very beginning. And our earring's actually going to transform into a bunch of different abilities. Every time we sit down and drink tea -1 time, it'll be a new ability. And that's actually a joke in the game where they're like, oh yeah, you expected to get something every time you drink tea, huh? Well, no, not this time. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that staff, by the way, also titular. What's the word there? It's a bow staff. So a few different meanings to that word there. Speaking of which, the staff is really cool speed-wise, or not even speed, but just cool gameplay-wise. When you're swinging it on the ground, it actually swings really slow, and it also slows down your movement. But if you are swinging it on the ground and you're alternating direction, it'll swing faster. It still slows you down, but it'll swing, more times per second. If you jump, it'll swing even faster when you're in the air. And if you jump and alternate direction at the same time, like we just saw in that fight, it goes even faster than that. So we just got our second ability, Bat. And basically just anything that's blue, pretty much. We can just hit it with the bat and send it off in a straight line. We're pretty useful throughout our run here. Cool.
And it also
trick without
it gives you a what's called a jump reset, or essentially it's a double jump. When you see me glowing blue in midair, like right here, it means I just have a double jump to use in the air, and that's triggered by hitting almost everything in the game. There's like a couple things, probably 5% of the things, maybe less, in the game that don't give you a jump reset. But almost everything in the game does, and it makes it to where if you can hit anything, you have a way to traverse. So like if you can reach anything with your staff, any up slash like through the floor, any enemy through the floor, you now have a jump to at your expense, and you actually have so much control over like where you go and how you move around the environment. It's actually so like freeing.
Yeah, absolutely. The movement in this game is pretty sick. Another sick thing is our Darumas. So we just got our first one. These are going to be basically a spell. We're going to be able to just shoot. This is Chomper. Shoot a little guy and he does damage. And if we press the button a second time, he's actually going to, like he did at the end there, chomp. And that just does more damage, but it obviously stops him where he is. We also got the Kodama Charcoal, which is going to make our tea boil. You heard a kind of whistling sound recently, and we're going to keep trying to do that in our fights. When our tea boils, that actually upgrades temporarily our Daruma. So there's a system called eyes for the Daruma. Basically, what we have right now is one-eye Chomper, and when our tea boils, it goes to two-eye Chomper, it just does more damage, it's bigger. And that effect's different for different Daruma. And later on, we're actually going to be able to permanently upgrade our Chomper to the two-eye version. And when our tea boils, it'll then go to three eyes, which again has different abilities. Going down here to the
absolutely massive and just fly across the whole screen, sweeping everything.
Yep, pretty cool. That's pretty consistent with a lot of the damage dealing Daruma too, is they just get big and do more damage pretty much. So continuing here, I'd say this is almost an extension of the tutorial for the bat ability.
Yeah.
This area is also part of the demo that came out before the full game. And the demo had a speedrunning competition that was alluded to earlier. And this area was so technical, and it still is. And you can see there's just a bunch of like specific shots we're doing with all these bats that are really tough.
You got to get all four of
I was
these.
not expecting this to be a half shooter game.
Yeah.
I watched it first.
Luckily for me, that kind of ends after this, for the most part.
You do have to get these four, they're called armor pillows, over to like a box that's around the NPC Shimeji. Fun fact, they actually all four have a cloak around them, and each one is the four characters of Demon Slayer.
It was so funny. We saw the sprites for those in the, just the game files. And Viz and I were trying forever to figure out what those were. We're like, what is this little scarf? Like,
it looked like Patrick Starr's arm. 'Cause it wasn't attached to the armadillo. It was just the actual like curved part of the scarf. And I was like, what am I looking at right now?
Yep.
So, but yeah, that area is actually like such a, I wouldn't call it a run killer, because I mean, you can, but like in my mind, I guess when I think run killer, I think of like a super RNG section, and this game actually doesn't really have a lot of RNG. It's actually shockingly devoid of RNG. We're about to come up on a boss here in a second that has falling rocks that are coming from the ceiling, and they are like always consistent from the same spots and same time of the fight. And that's most of the enemy behavior in the game. There's a couple of like, oh, this enemy could just float up or float down, but I actually think it might be due to like how you move. But for the most part, everything is pretty consistent. It's just that the barrier for like perfect execution is just so astronomically high that it doesn't even matter if there's no RNG.
Yeah, and it's a good thing this fight is deterministic, or just consistent, really. This one does not have that little RNG. Because let me tell you, if you don't kill the boss as quick as we're doing it here, it gets real crazy real fast, and I think Viz will agree when I say we would probably just die if we accidentally got that far.
I'm actually scared of like the normal casual way of fighting this boss. I don't even know how to do it. I don't want to deal with the other attacks. I'll just kill him before he gets to do them.
Very extreme version of the classic speedrunner. The best defense is to kill them first.
Yep.
You know. So, next ability here. Finally, we get our dash, and this basically just unlocks the game for us, movement-wise.
And damage-wise.
There's some more coming later on. And damage-wise. That's a spoiler. So the first thing you'll notice with the dash is that it's sick. The second thing you'll notice is that we're jumping out of it a lot. And when we do that, we get this little shine animation. And what that is, called a shine dash, it actually lets us keep the dash speed through that jump, which is very cool and useful and the fastest way to get around the game. So.
And you can jump out of any part of the dash as late as you want or as early as you want. You can also swing your staff to stop it on. You can stop literally, one pixel over. You can stop at like the very, very end in slash. It gives you a bunch of control to, like, especially with the shine dash, you can do like a really short hop and just get like a little like spring to go upwards. There's just a lot you can do with it, and whenever it gets extended later with different ways of giving yourself like jump resets and stuff like that, or dash resets, they gave us way too much control, and then they were like surprised whenever we like completely broke the game.
What? You used the
Pretty
tools
much.
we gave you?
Yeah.
They didn't know they were giving us, I think, at least one of those tools. So,
That's fair.
there's that.
It's like opening up a toolbox and you find like a whisk in there.
Yeah. So the fact that you can cancel your dash with a staff, I call them dash cancels, actually just irrevocably changed the combat in the entire rest of the run. So if you look at a run from about a year ago, all of the combat is just unrecognizable. It's very cool to be living through that.
Yeah, we were trying to change staff directions as fast as possible, which is like not easy to hit like up and staff and then neutral staff and then down staff and then neutral staff. Like it was kind of difficult. And
It's what you've seen so far in this
yeah,
one.
is what I was doing before I got the dash. But now that was 5 hits.
I do that.
Because I don't know if they did this on purpose, but like whenever you hit something in midair, it's specifically only in midair, but when you hit something with like, when you interrupt your dash with a staff, it resets your staff, and your staff, like hitting something, resets your dash. So they're resetting each other. So as fast as you can press those two buttons is as fast as you can dash and swing. You can do absurd amounts of damage so quickly.
Yep.
That is cool.
And to make it even better, at the start of this section from that bunny Rosu, we got another Omamori. By the way, Omamori are like charms. Right now we have one that attracts the money, the Foxfire. Rosu gave us one that increases the damage when we do dash interrupt by a pretty significant margin. So
I think it doubles.
We'll be wearing that for pretty much all the fights. I don't think that's true, but I think it's like 1.5. We are very close to finding those things out, apparently. So, speaking of Foxfire, if you look in the top left there, we have our little hood. The teapot has our tea. We get 1 tea every time we hit an enemy. And that's basically our mana. We can heal for 5 tea. Right now, each Daruma cast costs 3 tea, but that changes according to the Daruma that we use. And to the right of that, those petals are our health, and below that is our Foxfire amount. And then you can also see our equipped Daruma, which right now we only have Chomper, so...
Yeah, we skipped over a lot of skips on the bridge. This is actually like the most skip-heavy section of the run, but like we ignored every puzzle. Like almost every puzzle that they wanted you to do, we just found ways to... You're supposed to hit these candles to like make walls fall, and we just went over the wall instead. Or you're supposed to make a wall get out of your way to go under, and we just went under anyway. The puzzles are
I did
are a
see in
suggestion.
chat somebody pointing out that you just did a skip while talking and, just got through it.
That bridge skip,
That skip is insanely hard to learn. But I think what Biz was getting to was that once you got it, it usually just works. Like, you don't really have to think about it too much. But that's always so scary to me as a speedrunner, because if it breaks, you're like, ah.
It definitely feels super nice to like get really consistent at, because it just feels like it clicks all of a sudden. But yeah, then one day you're just like, why did I just miss this last like 4 runs in a row?
Okay, on to our next boss, Hashihime. So this boss, unlike most bosses in this game, actually doesn't even count damage. It just counts the number of hits you've done, which is great to use our new dash cancel tech. We are just spamming hits, and you see we actually do use Chomper, not for the damage, but because it does 3 hits when you chomp on it like that. And that boss went by way too fast.
That was beautiful.
She has so many more attacks.
Fun fact, her name is Hashihime, which Hashi is bridge, and Hime is the honorific for princess. So she's just bridge princess. I found that out like, a couple weeks ago. Don't worry about Mr. Skeleton. We'll deal with him later.
Yeah, don't worry about him. Anyway, so we're on Creature Corner. And just to highlight the little creature that we are, our name is Bo. We are a Tentai Hana. So first of all, we look like a fox or a rabbit. It's not clear what we really are. We get called both throughout the game.
Yeah.
And what we are is just like basically a spirit, a supposedly teardrop from like the moon goddess fell from the sky, and then that's us. Basically, we just are a spirit. We have a pretty short life. Don't worry about this cutscene, by the way. There's nothing important here.
Yeah, this is not like a big scary eyeball.
You'll see a bunch of other Tentai Hana throughout the run. I said it wasn't important.
Pay attention to the axolotl. Look how cute they are.
Yeah.
Cute. Also creatures.
You'll see a bunch of other Tentai Hana throughout the run too, like Asahi, for example, is one.
Wait, sir, do I lose time here? I think I have to, right?
Of course you do. Of course you do.
All right. Hey, buddy.
Oh,
Little guy.
10 out of 10 game.
that is worth losing time for in my book.
Every time. I love that dog. Nothing bad would ever happen to it. Here's our friend Dono.
Why did you
we're
say
in the
that?
hub city now. What? Nothing.
Emotionally preparing the audience. Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
We are in the hub city now. This is where all our shops are, and just in the center of the map. This is Dono. We're at the Daruma shop. Obviously, he has 3 more Daruma for sale. We just bought Ken.
The most important Daruma.
A lot. Yes, Ken is going to help us out with movement, actually. Real quick, you can also upgrade your Daruma here with if you give him an ink. When we use Ken, it shoots out this shuriken, and we can actually pogo on it. If we down slash on it, it gives us a little bit of height. It doesn't give us our jump, but it does give us another dash. So it's just absolutely busted for movement. If they would have given us a jump afterwards, that would have broken the game.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about how different this game would have been with that. But I mean, it's already too much. Like, it's not too much. I love it. Like, please don't change it. But
no,
like,
perfect. Yeah. Yeah. And we saw the blacksmith where we upgrade our staff. There's the ramen shop where we can get extra health, which we will not be doing this run. And here's the tea shop where we can upgrade the size of our tea kettle.
I love how I probably have like 10 times the amount of hours. That's actually probably low. It's probably 20 times the amount of hours as Sir. But like every time we do these marathon runs, he's like, here's Dono. And I was like, who was Dono? I don't even know his name. The only one I know is the one. Our rules. Yeah, we do. The only one I know is Naruto because his name is Naruto and he's a Naruto, which is a Naruto, which is like a ramen crouton.
The fish cake.
Yeah, whatever.
I love ramen crouton.
I was specifically told that, honestly.
Okay.
I'm going to be spending a lot of time thinking about that later.
So true. The reason we've been going around the city is grabbing all these tablet fragments because we have a quest that we actually just got from this dragon now to collect them all so that we can communicate with another NPC, which we'll get to later. But it's really cool. You didn't have to talk to the dragon first. You could just go throughout the world, collect those fragments, even if you didn't know what they were for, which is just kudos to the devs. Like, we just love that.
They do that a lot in this game.
Speedrunners.
Where they just let you like do stuff before they even tell you that you're supposed to. As long as it's not like you need a certain item to. That's not what I meant to do. Unless you need a certain item to like actually grab stuff, which those do exist. But for the most part, if it's just like collecting items that are just existing in the world, you can just grab them before anybody even tells you to do so. And then you can go to that person. They're like, oh, hey, you have everything. Cool. All right, here's the quest reward.
Mm-hmm. And you just saw our first Ken Pogo just to get a little height and skip some platforming in that room. And also, by the way, we are in Megumi Mountain now. Next area. Pretty cool. Fun fact, they actually... So there's kind of 2 ways you could go after being in the city, left or right. This is left, hopefully, obviously, maybe not. And the devs wanted you to be able to explore the game however you wanted. That said, it really was kind of intended to go like right, left to complete the game. But we figured out we could do left side first, and that was better for any percent. And later on in this side, there's some stuff that was absolutely miserable without the ability that we get on the right side. And the devs saw that and us complaining about it and said, oh, we'll just fix it. And then they did. It was that easy. It was awesome. Uh-oh.
Oh, I tried to sneak under him. That's okay. I specifically sat at the shrine right before this just in case that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first of 2 very difficult arenas here.
So what in particular for any percent makes it better to go left?
Because it means that instead of going... Trips. Well, instead of going left, right, we knock out the entire right side in one trip instead. So we just go left and then right, and then left one more time. Whereas in 100%, we kind of have to do both sides anyway. Like, kind of as intended, because there's just so many things we need to grab. I should be fine this time. There we go.
Nice.
The other time,
nice job.
Yeah.
And that was the 3-eye chomper, by the way.
Yeah.
Very nice for arenas.
Our main damage dealing Daruma is one of the other ones that's in the shop. It's so funny that like of the Daruma that you get around the world, like one of them's like a boss reward, and then one is in like a shop. like they are not nearly as good as just the 3 that we get, like 1 in the very beginning of the game almost for free, and then for free, yeah, and then the rest of them we get at the Daruma shop, and those are our 3 most important for the entire run.
Yeah. All right. Made quick work of that arena. It's hard, trust me.
That looks
get all of them.
easy. Everything in this looks easy, right? Heavy
easy
sarcasm. This looks very hard.
It's like, do I want them to think that it looks easy because I'm making it look easy, or it looks hard because it looks like a difficult game that's fun to play? I don't know which one's better.
The latter and the former.
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
If you liked that little exercise we just did, wait until later. It gets better. I didn't say what he thought I was going to say.
You'll get more. You'll get more.
Yeah. So you'll notice there's kind of like different like races as we go throughout the game, different species. It's pretty fun. I like it. We started out in kind of the rabbit area. Now we're in the beetle area.
It's very creature. I adore this game for that.
Very creature.
This game taught me that Kabuto is Japanese for beetle, which made me realize that the Pokemon is just the word beetle, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, okay.
So this area is, so these are 2, well, this one's 1, but we're gonna get another one after this, spoiler alert. They're little sumo trainings where you're supposed to have an ability called grapple. You can think of it as Ori's Bash because it's the exact same thing. Slightly worse, but the exact same thing. But you're supposed to be able to grapple through this middle drum that we're bouncing on. But since speedrunners were going to the left side first, what we basically had to do was wait for one of these guys to float downward, and we're racing. You see the little flags on the bottom. We're racing them to have our flag get across before theirs, and if we don't keep them out of the circle, then theirs will move across and they'll beat us. And then you have to restart the whole thing. Well, these drums that I just bounced off of, the ones at the very bottom, those weren't there. And because they expect you to have grapple here so you could just grapple through the drum, then you could get into the circle. So we were having to wait for one of these beetles to float low enough, which is one of the rare instances of RNG in the game. We needed them to come low enough to where we could jump, get a hit on them, get a double jump, and then get into the circle early enough to where they wouldn't beat us in this challenge. Like if their flag was already too far over, then we couldn't even win. And it was just such a nightmare and such a reset, because if you lost this once, it's just like that was a whole minute gone. And the devs were like, oh, well, that seems really miserable. So would you guys just like a way to like get into the circle easier? And we were like, oh my God, please, yes. And they immediately gave us these drums to bounce off of. So it is now very easy as a consequence, but I'll take that any day of the week.
Easily. And speaking of easy, not this.
Excellent transition.
Thank you.
He's a professional.
Here's Kabuto.
Oh, that was supposed to be a shuriken. That's okay. It was one of the few times where we actually used Kin for damage.
Yep. We're just able to kind of sit it on top of him here. Right now we only have Ken and Chomper, and a full Ken hit like that will do more than Chomper. Now that we're in the air, we don't really have that luxury. I love this fight, because we just tank through him and dash cancel over and over again, and he just dies. It's awesome.
Yeah. There's a lot of bosses
and we do have that.
There's a lot of bosses in this game that don't have a hurt box on top of them. He is not one of them, and which makes him a lot harder, especially this early where we don't have some of our tools that would make this a lot easier. As well as those like little orbs that he sends around. Those are one of the few items in the game, or like objects in the game, that if you were to hit them without down slashing them, they don't give you a jump. Down slashing them, they do. If you poke them, they do. But for some reason, those specifically, you have to down slash them. But did get a new ability. Sir's favorite.
Yes, sir. That's true. They call me Hover Guy. They don't.
They call you Sumo Guy.
They definitely don't call you Hover Guy. When we were first running this game, Viz just didn't instinctually hit hover when he needed to not fall for some reason.
I just didn't think that was an option.
And every now and then he'd watch me run, and like, I'm not good now, but like I was bad back then, and he'd still learn a lot of like hovers from watching me run. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'd watch him and I'd be like, oh, that's so unfortunate that you oh, he just hovered to like stall. That's crazy. It's almost like that's what the ability is for. Huh.
That was Vermilion Stranger. She's our fast travel option other than just save and quitting. There's just a bunch of little soup bowls around the map you can teleport to and from. And she holds you, and I just, makes me long.
One crazy thing that hover actually did for us that we didn't actually discover until 3 or 4 months ago, maybe, is you'll see now whenever I'm doing shine dashes, like the thing that slows shine dashes down, we'll talk about Jingu in a second, is trying to wait for yourself to get back down to the floor, right? So like if you're approaching like a screen transition, then you don't need to get down to the floor. If you can like hit things in midair, then you can like get another shine dash. You can just like keep chaining them until you get to the exit. But when you're going around like the flat ground like this, you need to try to get down to the floor earlier so that you can get another dash. Well, that's where hover comes in. Hover kind of like cancels your upward momentum. So if you can do your shine dash, but right after the jump, just tap hover, oh my God, please. It'll kind of push you back down. So it's putting me back down to the floor while keeping my horizontal momentum. And it just makes it to where moving around in this game is not just like pressing the dash button whenever dash is available. Like, which, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is really cool to like have like a lot of active things that your hands are doing.
Yeah. I love anything that adds skill ceiling to the game.
Yep.
For sure.
The complex movement
quiz.
kit is really cool. Pop quiz.
So cool. Pop quiz, what is the name of the NPC that just shared some tea with you?
It's not Momo. Is that,
I
do I
love
get
that the
partial
runner and I
credit?
are both doing this. It's not Naruto.
I think you get a 0 because you just said the exact opposite of the truth. It is Momo.
Oh, no, I thought, damn. I thought I said Momo and it was wrong every time.
Oh no.
I thought that I always said Momo and that was wrong, but I guess it just is Momo. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
and
always
Momo
the
was
ones
one
you
who
least
gives us tea, but
expect.
not an upgrade.
Yeah. It was a trick question. You can't do that to me.
I thought you'd get it this time, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So these little foxes
You're asking a lot of me.
are annoying. But luckily, if we just hit them with Chomper, they go away. So every time we see one of those, we're just going to be chomping them immediately.
Yep. I specifically routed like my strat in this area sometimes to have tea specifically left over to chomp them.
Yeah.
That's my whole plan. I don't want them on the screen anymore. They are annoying and get in my way and hit me, and I don't want to deal with them.
And they're mean to me.
They're like not RNG, but they feel RNG because they're not RNG because they just go to wherever you currently are whenever they like launch, which feels like they just like homing missile onto you. It's obnoxious.
Mm-hmm. That is what they do.
Oh, I couldn't have told you this guy's name, but I do like the name Kiyoshi.
Last time we did one of these, you informed me it was Kiyoshi. I didn't even know he had a name.
I think I saw it.
Yeah.
I don't remember these things. I remember Asahi. I like him.
Ozzy's the homie.
And I remember
kind of.
Mochi because she's my favorite.
True. Mochi spoilers, gosh. By the way, the lore here
Mochi.
was Asahi like basically dying from guilt and for no reason that we know of, by the way. And we just got this monk to play him a little tune. Now he feels better, so he gave us some tea, and we got our next upgrade, Grapple.
So he's obviously going to be really nice to us and helpful for the rest of the game, and he will never do anything to harm us.
Right.
Yeah, he's the homie.
Right. And you know what can't harm you,
So
Twitch
we now
chat?
have
just a quick reminder that you can still register to attend SGDQ if you'd like to see visuals play this live, or any of the other incredible runs and things we've got going on at SGDQ. There's so much stuff. It's not just runs. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. There's panels, there's board games, there's all sorts of stuff. If you would like to attend, you can use !SGDQ in Twitch chat or visit gamesdonequick.com for more information. Summer Games Done Quick 2025 will be live from Minneapolis, Minnesota from July 6th to the 13th. And if you're interested in attending, make sure to register for the event by May 26th. Actually, you can still register now. It just costs a little bit more. You didn't hear that here. Insider info.
So we now have the grapple, which, if you're a fan of Ori and the Blind Forest, may look a little similar. Don't tell the bow devs, but the ability is better. But I do like this a lot. Okay. It feels so good when you don't like it. Honestly, I've learned over the course of like my world record grind that it was user error. It just was hard to figure that out because there would be some times where it's barely above your head, but it's very much to the right. So I would just be holding right, thinking that like that's all you needed. And then I would press the grapple button like 50 times and it wouldn't happen because it was waiting for an up input. And once you figure that out, like if you just hold both directions, then it just works. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. But it took me a while to figure that out.
And if you want to play this game, definitely remember that, because our buddy couldn't do one of the puzzles for some reason, and that was the reason. So.
Yeah, you got to be facing him, and you have to be holding the direction. Although I wasn't facing that one, yeah. So
it was that puzzle, by the way. He just did.
Yeah. There's a faster way to do that, but it's so risky because if that bounces off the wall and goes into the thorns, then it resets, and then you have to go all the way around and get another one. It's really annoying. So.
I just love this movement. It's so fluid. I also love that skip.
I love the
because it's swag.
Yeah, that was actually there was a roof right there that was the hitbox for it was way farther, like way lower than it looked. Like the graphics for it looked. And there was a point where the devs asked the speedrunners if there was anything that like we thought was annoying or like wanted changed, and I was like, actually I bonk my head on that ceiling all the time and it doesn't look like I'm going to, and I would absolutely love if it was like changed to be like more in line with the visual effect of it, or the visual like lines. And then they fixed it in the next patch, and now I don't think I've ever actually bonked my head on that anymore.
Removing
bonks, certified
that's
mochi
incredible.
moment.
Yeah, this is my favorite NPC.
Mochi
it's also some of my favorite movement whenever it goes well. Whenever I mess it up, it makes me really sad. But otherwise, it's really fun.
Yep.
Story of my life, I guess.
The ability we just got is Suki Dash, which gives us invincibility for about the first half of our dash now. So
yeah, you'll see little like pink petals coming out, and then you'll see teal petals. Yeah. The pink petals mean I'm invincible. The blue ones mean the invincibility is worn off.
To me, it means that they're pretty.
Yes, they are very.
Yeah, this is a very pretty game. That's something that chat was talking about as well, just how gorgeous this game is to look at, and a lot of people were just getting hyped about potentially checking it out for themselves. So definitely would recommend giving some indie devs some love and playing this awesome game.
Absolutely. There's also a free DLC coming out soon. We don't have a date for it yet, but I can pretty much promise it'll come out before Silksong. No, I've already played like some of the beta for it, and it is really, really cool, and I'm really hyped for it to release. So they confirmed it was going to be free, and it's just really difficult. Honestly, very difficult content. So I'm excited for that, because I think a lot of times speedrunners will just start to get to a point where nothing casually feels hard anymore. And I was struggling with like just beating some stuff, not even doing it fast, just like actually beating it.
Again, that's DLC content, not required to beat the game. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, we got our mochi mallet, which lets us slam down on the ground. We're going to be able to break some floors using that. It also just makes us go down faster, which is useful, and gives us invulnerability for parts of it as well. And here we are, just upgrading our staff real quick. We grabbed one collectible earlier. Almost wasn't worth mentioning, but that's why we got it, to do this. And we're just going to head right back to where we were by quitting out. And
this actually does double our staff damage. I know that one for a fact. And it's just crazy how an item that we didn't even really have to go out of our way for probably added 2 seconds. And then running over to that NPC to double our staff damage, which is our main point of damage with our, dash interrupts, is so fast. Like, it's so worth it. I can't even imagine, like, taking that out of the route. This area is actually shockingly kind of hard, with a lot of like difficult skips like this one.
And we're using that mochi mallet, but we're actually canceling out of it with a dash, which you can do once you hit the ground. You can also cancel out of it with a staff or a pause, which you'll see later as well. All very useful. So here we have 2 consecutive off-screen lineups for these bats. That one's definitely not intended. We're breaking the puzzle.
Yeah.
I guess the first one's not either, but...
No, I think the first one you have to.
Well, I think they want you to go to the platform first, but anyways. That was fair. Pausing to get out of our dive here. If you don't do that, you actually fall through another floor and have to go around. Here's our next boss. Right. And the first time I think that we're going to use Jingu. Our third Daruma.
Yeah. I also think this is the hardest boss to do fast. I don't think it's necessarily that hard to do. Well, like, it's hard casually.
I do.
If you're if you're trying to do speedrun strats, it is so difficult to pull off, like, doing it quickly. It's like once you start doing it fast, she's actually pretty easy to, like, just spam, really fast movement, or really fast damage.
Yeah. Are the spawners gonna spawn?
Nope.
No? Okay. I couldn't tell if you missed the damage you needed. That fight takes so much longer, I promise. I promise you. There's almost nothing to say about it when he does it that fast.
So what I did in the very beginning was called, we don't really have a name for it. I call it a fake double jump. But essentially what it is if you press jump and then press it again, like almost immediately, like on like the next physics frame, I guess, or just really, really fast, you get like a little mini air jump. It can just allow you to get a tiny bit more height than normal. And if you do that and get the max height out of it and then Ken Pogo, you can actually barely reach her head. Because what they want you to do is go over to one of the little like portal drum things on the left and right side of the screen and then like use that to get height to like float over to her. But that takes enough time to where she puts these nests on the walls that you can break with the little like bombs from the top. But like that obviously takes a while. Or you can ignore them and have like enemies flying around the screen constantly getting in your way and they like shoot projectiles and the screen can get very cluttered very fast. So if you can do enough damage to push the phase to where she jumps up into the ceiling fast enough, she just doesn't spawn them. And so that's like, if you can get the little fake double jump into Ken Pogo and just start doing damage to her immediately, you can get her to not spawn those at all.
And by the way, you can put off that boss until very late game and get a bunch of upgrades, just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So we actually didn't talk about it earlier. We escorted the bride of this wedding over to this wedding site. We actually didn't walk in because we did a little skip where we just quit out. Actually locked us out of an item, but it's an item we don't need. We do for 100%, but obviously for any percent, we don't care. It's a health upgrade item. Also, this is Kitsura. You'll see more of him later. But She was missing her groom, and that's who we just went and rescued from behind Jiragumo.
He had a crazy
And escort
bachelor
him.
party.
And now we have the bane of my existence, the ender of most of my runs, the West Trial. This section is... So, to do this section, like, optimally, I need to take 2 damage tanks and then fight a boss without sitting at, like, a save point, because we want to teleport back down to the bottom where our save point is. And if I don't do it optimally, that actually puts the enemies in, like, they're all kind of like, I don't know about cycle based, but they're all kind of like timing based. If I don't get to them in the same time every time, which is the time which involves me damage tanking, then they'll be in like these weird awkward spots, and then they're like flying enemies and they can just chase you around. When they hit the wall, they explode, and it's so difficult to keep 2 health like after your 2 damage tanks that it just, I either lose a ton of time in this section or just die trying to do like optimal strats, and it's a nightmare. So
Yeah.
I think this probably is my most reset split in the entire run.
Probably doesn't need to be said either, but healing was also off the table for the same reasons. So,
Yeah, I need the T.
and the time.
Yep. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit that target. We need to hit all 3 of these targets. We're gonna hit 2 of them with Kin. That's bad. Okay. Well, now the entire room, which is a massive room with a like dozen enemies, they are all going to be in very weird spots because I did not get that. I'm supposed to hit that thing with a Kin and then fall into spikes to like damage warp, which puts me ahead. But now that I didn't do that, they will all be in very strange positioning, and I will just have to adjust.
These flying guys,
These guys.
are very annoying.
Yeah.
And I think they're a cool enemy. My least favorite thing about them, though, is that when they hit something and explode, their explosion is huge. It's like so big.
It's obnoxiously big.
Yeah. Not a complaint, just a comment. Skill issue.
It is a skill issue. I will complain, but it is a skill issue.
Yeah. Also, first and third pillars, or like, I don't know, shafts here, don't actually go all the way to the wall. So as he just did,
I
you
was
can
just
slip
about
right
to
by.
say, I was wondering if you parried it or if you just snuck around. But yeah,
Yeah, we're actually hacking on our marathon run.
exactly. Then tell me. All hacks category. We just interesting.
No, that's
That's what we
Sal's
meant to do in the
category.
first one.
Just not even a jab. Call out to the All Glitches speedrun,
Yeah.
which is pretty much only Sawayoshi, who is a GDQ regular. So
I also only missed one thing in that entire split, and I lost 20 seconds.
yep.
Wow.
It's very brutal.
I just noticed this fight is called Tengu Solo. It just spoils that there's more later. Right off the bat.
Ooh, that was really good.
That was really good.
But I expect to take that first hit, because sometimes you'll get lucky and it won't hit you, but most of the time it'll hit you. But basically, I just have to race him to kill him before he hits me again. If I enter the room with 2 health, like I normally plan to.
Yep.
So you may think, okay, so we just had the most difficult split, the highest reset split. Now you should have like a break. And no, we probably have the highest like APM execution split immediately after, because the other side is the East Trial, because we just got the ice picks, which is, it's a wall dash and a wall jump. We can now attach ourselves to the wall. And you can hold the dash button to like fly up it like Sonic, like that.
I forgot Sonic does that.
Yeah.
You're so right.
But it now means that, again, this is a massive room. This entire East Trial is one room, and it's all on a big cycle. And I am trying to make certain cycles by getting through, like, I don't know, very tight windows with very punishing, like, respawn checkpoints.
And this is now all of the movement on full display. You'll see this and one more section later, really showing them off. It's so fun. I love this ability. I think this might be Viz's favorite ability, question mark.
It is definitely mine, yeah.
It's really fun to watch. I cannot imagine how fun it is to play with.
Yeah. Just all these like staircase geometry. It's so fun to just wall dash, dash, wall dash, dash up them. And we didn't quite introduce it, so we are doing the trial of the Tengu right now, which has a few parts. We did the West trial, which was that platforming section, and then that boss. We are now in the East trial. And you do have to do them in this order because you need wall dash to do this section. And you won't believe what is at the end of this one after the solo Tengu fight at the end of the West trial.
Give me 3 guesses.
3?
Actually, I'll give you 2 guesses.
I was going to say 3 is a little too much for me, but 2 guesses is acceptable.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Very high skill ceiling there, but not nearly as punishing, in my opinion, as the West trial.
Yeah, you actually have like, I don't need a lot of the T in the East trial. I can actually heal if I absolutely needed to. Just you'll miss a lot of cycles, but West trial, there's just nowhere to do so. Like you just can't.
This OJ says remind him later. He thinks he found 0.2 somewhere, which is a crazy amount to just estimate. Hey, here's your Tengu duo. Who got it right? Hands in chat. I do like the 2 guesses comment because there is a rule of 3s in video games, so could have been 3-0.
I think this is a step up from like hitting Bowser 3 times, but indeed.
Nah, same thing.
Oh, I got more news for you about that rule of 3s thing.
So we did intentionally like skip over the shrine that was right outside that boss. If you needed to, you could sit there. It's just a bit of time lost because we'd have to like come all the way back down, and I haven't timed it personally, but it's kind of punishing. But if you can successfully do the trial and then fight the boss and not die, then that means you can just teleport all the way back down here, and it saves a ton of time.
I just love to point
There's
out
3 banners.
What?
3? I can't believe it. This was never telegraphed.
Not once. This is the Tengu trio. The third one is called the Dai Tengu. That's his title. And
It's also about what's about to
that he's
happen.
wearing. Yeah, that's what's been happening for the last 10 minutes. The mask he's wearing is called a Dai Tengu. Cute. Ooh, so it's funny with Jingu.
I was being so aggressive.
Yeah. With Jingu, the Daruma we have equipped, we basically just don't use it unless it's 3i. So after we literally upgrade it when we buy it because we don't even want to use it before that. And then we only use it when our tea is boiling for the 3i because the 1i and 2i are just so much less damage. So Viz actually popped a 2i there, and
I think that actually caused my death.
Yeah, he did not mean to do that.
Because I think I was expecting the 3i damage and tried to push through.
I mean, he was like dead. He was
really close, yeah.
Dare I say
This boss
robbed?
doesn't.
I was being a little too aggressive. Oh, whoops. Come on, die.
There you go.
Whoa, there was so much
Whoopsie.
happening there. Amazing job.
Yeah, that boss
I was
has
trying
a
to
hurt
use
box
the.
too. Where's Dash?
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes him kind of difficult. Is he actually you can't just sit on top of him like most other bosses. I was trying to use the mallet for iframes whenever he slammed down on the ground, but I canceled out of it too early, which made me vulnerable, but it didn't really matter. He was already close to dying.
So the quest they just gave us was actually to go get the Kitsune Kifuda, which is what we got for beating Joragumo, the big spider lady, earlier and completing the wedding quest. So we actually already did that. So we talked to him twice in a row, and he gave us a different quest now.
Again, them letting us do things before like being told to do them, because they are not handcuffing you to like, oh, hey, you can't pick up this item that's on the ground because you haven't talked to a person.
Yep.
Hey, it's Puppy.
I love this puppy. It's so cute. We pet it earlier.
Oh no.
They did this to us. Unskippable cutscene.
Yeah, unskippable.
Unnecessary and unskippable.
Wow.
So remember the skeleton that we said don't worry about? Like, we have to deal with him now.
I've been worrying, so.
Not gonna lie, me too.
I do really, really like these like bosses that are not hitting bosses, like Hashihime. I mean, she's a boss at the end, but like the whole bridge like sequence is really cool. It reminds me of like Ori escape sequences. This one's very similar to that, where it's like it is a boss encounter, but you're not gonna fight him like a boss.
It's a platforming challenge.
Our staff interrupts are not gonna help us here, but one of the biggest discoveries of my speedrun career helps us defeat this thing in probably a quarter of the time.
Yeah. So the intended way is this first part's even not intended, but that's just a cool little skip we found. Much less relevant.
That isn't the big thing. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it is a cool skip. Is to mallet his head and then come down here and then climb up his leg and then climb up his arm for like a minute and then climb up the rest of his body and then do it again. But we just simply did not touch the ground at the bottom, so our hazard respawn is still up here, and we take a hazard like damage from his foot down here before we touch the ground. And we just spawn back up here instead of climbing the whole skeleton twice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Game got outsmarted.
Yep. Yeah, Viz found that on accident, unsurprisingly.
Yeah. I was just trying to get up onto the foot, and then he stomped on me, and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. And then I was up top, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
goody.
Shout out to Fernie for finding that spot on the left that we can spawn, as well as skip up to his head, which is just
Even
quicker
better.
than the spot that we had before. So.
Ooh. So now the fun begins.
Yeah.
The fun was not here. I've been having fun.
Me too.
I've been having fun.
Oh,
I hope people have been having fun.
OJ just said GG in the chat. I thought the same thing when I was playing this game casually. I was like, oh, is this game just over
Absolutely,
now?
I did too.
Like, I did it.
Yeah, that felt very final boss.
Yeah, I mean, look how big it was, right?
The estimate is
And
saying
now-
It
there's
was like introduced in the
more.
beginning of the game.
Yeah. But there's a whole other thing to do. We're in the Imperial Castle now, where we're gonna basically just power up this elevator on every floor because it keeps powering down. This axolotl's name is Kirei, and the devs enlightened us during our last marathon run. She is an Akaname. I definitely didn't say that right. But what that means is a scum licker. And if you're curious, look it up. It's fitting. Pretty interesting lore there. Yeah, so here we just have a series of platforming challenges and fights throughout. And what we're going to do is just direct these lasers at the, I guess, target that they're going to. To power up the elevator, one on the left side and one on the right side of each floor. And there's a very long cutscene every time you do activate one of those lasers. And we skip that cutscene by taking damage to gain control and then simply quitting out, which brings us to the start of every floor. But we get to keep our progress, so awesome.
I just golded.
Oh, sick.
I haven't gone to this split in a while.
Pretty short split. So.
But yeah, this split is actually, this like, whenever I was doing this casually, I was actually really scared of what this was gonna turn into, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's like barely any like checkpoints, and there's no like shrines to sit at, and like how are we gonna like keep our health up, because I'm taking damage everywhere. Ow. Like that. But then we found out very quickly that you can just, once you have the laser like on the spot it needs to be, you can just quit out and it puts you in the middle with full health, full T. And I was like, oh, let's go. I mean, this doesn't mean it's not dangerous. I've definitely died here plenty of times, but a lot easier than if we just had to keep our health all the time. You die. We're live. Okay, there we go.
It is pretty fun how creative you have to get sometimes at the end of these to take damage to get your control back.
Yeah.
To skip these cutscenes. That was an example, and he did some weird looking stuff, which actually wasn't super necessary, but it's because of how creative you have to get in the first place, usually there.
Oh, dude, we're not having the floor conversation, okay? I don't live in Britain.
I'm not going to give any context for that. That's a great sentence.
I'm going to let people be wrong.
Yeah, here's another scenario where we don't want to shoot the crystal right at the thing because we want to have time to get over and tank a damage on it.
I swear, like, 3/4 of that crystal, when it hits the ground, just gets stuck in mud and it won't move. And the other half is made out of, like, bouncy ball. And it would just bounce off the floor and keep going. I don't know why. Maybe it's the bottom, but, like, once in every, like, 4 or 5 times, I will just, like, shoot it, and I expect it to just stop, and it just bounces all the way over and goes all the way in. So we're about to have probably either the hardest trick or tied for the hardest trick with bridge skip.
Yeah.
Right here.
I'd say bridge skip's harder.
Oh, I was so close. I mean, I got it.
Yeah. You can get it without
better, faster way. Yeah, you can do it without damage taking. I was very, very, very close, but it's okay. This reminds me of Undertale and Hotlands.
Oh yeah,
Music?
it is a little like that.
No, like the lasers coming down and you having to like
Right.
hide under something.
Outing myself as not having finished Undertale. It's a great game. I love watching it.
Yeah, I am an unabashed
How dare you not have a bunch of free time?
lover, so
Sorry.
I'm giving you not real, but like suggesting you play it side eye. You know.
I made the mistake of watching like every ending before I even played it, and then I was playing it, and I was like, I'm sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
We're going to avoid the entire arena down low by doing that.
It's a good thing too, because that arena is actually really hard.
It's so difficult.
And here is one of our examples of pausing to get out of a mallet. And honestly, the trick he just did is kind of crazy and hard to explain. But it's really hard. I'll tell you that. It's really hard.
All right. That was the final floor of the palace. Whether that's the 3rd or 4th floor is up to you. But it is the final. Remember when we saved that guy in the forest? I think his name was Asahi. Surely he like wants to be our friend and like be nice to us all the time, right?
No, he's here with us.
It's Aussie! Aussie, I'm a big fan.
Remember me? That in the
I'm
forest?
not sure that creature
Remember all of our
has
good times?
the purest of intentions.
Come on, we go way back. Really like the art in the background here. It's like telling like the story of what happened to like the what's the world called, like Strange Garden? Yeah, Strange Garden.
Sure.
Look, you're the one that read all the lore, right? I read like 4 things.
Don't recall a name for this world at all, but yeah, he's kind of not being chill right now. Not gonna lie.
I don't see Aussie. I see Battleline.
As you should.
But no, this section is so much fun to like try to optimize and like get ahead of his laser.
Fun to play too. Yeah, comparing it to Battleline is an overwhelming compliment, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got a cool skip here. Shout outs to Spilled OJ for finding this one. Instead of defeating
Local
that mask.
Peggle champion.
True. Instead of killing that mask and then like getting some wind to climb up there, we just use the mask's projectiles to get up there instead.
Yeah, that whole section involved like killing the mask. You could get the crystal, turn the wind on, float up there slowly. It's just a lot. And we don't want to do any of that. Oh, I am behind. That's okay. We'll just.
Oh, Sir Cycle.
That's definitely what the thing you want to go for. That's the strap, baby. Let's go. Ignore the part where I said I was behind. Let's go.
Oh, what is going on here?
I missed.
Yeah. That actually does get a little scary because the cycle for that last laser is pretty important.
Yeah. I accept your apology, Yossi. Love you.
Like heartfelt apology. You're just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm out. You got stuff to do.
I'm gonna go fight your brother now.
Are they brothers?
Yeah.
Today I learned.
While on the GDQ
I might have more hours in this than anyone, yeah.
Might?
I don't know how many Nate has.
Oh, true.
So this is Shogun. There are 6 phases, and he kind of takes us on a world tour where we're in Juragumo's arena, and then Armakilla doesn't get one because nobody cares about him.
True.
We didn't even say his name when I fought him. Maybe. I don't remember.
I think we did. So one small focus here is going to be staying at full health because we did pick up another Omamori that gives us a damage boost at full health to our staff. And as you can see, we are using our staff quite liberally on this boss. Just staff interrupts constantly.
Speaking of staff interrupts, while we're doing this, do we have time for a quick announcement?
Go for it.
Awesome. I want to tell chat that we were talking about Sonic earlier. If you enjoy Sonic, we have an annual Sonic Hotfix event, and it is back with Sonic and the Sega All-Stars live on June 14th and 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern. This year, we're expanding beyond Sonic speedruns to include other iconic Sega franchises. Type !Sonic in chat for the full schedule and let us know what you're excited to see.
Big hog. Sonic is hype.
Sonic is hype. Talk about another franchise with incredible movement. I mean,
Absolutely.
Go isn't a franchise yet.
Yet.
There is Shogun, and he's going to be
What?
exercise or something. I don't know. Them things are banging, I guess. I don't know.
I was so scared. I'm like, no, there's more. At this point, dude, I was so sick of this boss. Because it was hard.
Gold. No.
I'm worried I'm spreading lies about them being murders.
Lean into it, man. Start making up stuff.
I'm gonna check
can
that
check
after
the
the
facts
I'm
after
pretty
the
sure.
show. Exactly.
Pretty sure it's his brother.
Pretty sure
Hey,
it's
is that
good
Flowey?
enough for me.
Flowey. Yeah. Hey, I read all the scrolls, all the lore scrolls, casually. Viz
All right, we're gonna make a
did
quick
not
detour
enter
real
that
quick.
room, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. The doggy's in
Hi,
heaven.
He's still here.
By the way, we're in heaven.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see.
Don't think about what that implies.
I like dog.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make our way up here. Actually, this might be one of the hardest skips in the run.
That's
I almost missed it.
Yeah, right at the end. You kind of get 2 tries as long as you keep the T for it.
And wait, run there.
Time.
GG. Excellent.
Sorry, didn't want to interrupt you.
No.
Well, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's thank you. That is bow any percent. You actually go around like a pretty I'd say a pretty big significant percentage of the game, but obviously there is still some optional bonus hard stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of that optional bonus hard stuff, visuals and MSIR are actually not going to be going anywhere because right after the break, we're going to be coming back with some additional bow content for y'all. It's going to be a challenge showcase of some of the really cool stuff you cannot see in the Any Percent run. And before we quickly go to break, I want to thank everyone for supporting GDQ Hotfix with your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs. All right, everybody, and we are back with some more bow Path of the Teal Lotus. Let's get it started.
I figured if I was going to be introduced by Satan, I'm in the right place.
It's happened twice already tonight. Incredible.
I had to stop for a little detour there. With where Momo was, I remembered her name.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So we're making our way over to the only optional boss currently in the game for now.
Bum, bum, bum.
But and there's a little surprise after it. But we'll get there. Whoops, wrong way.
Momo is also in heaven. I don't know if we walked past her or not, but
Yeah. I think she was right at the end. I think.
yeah, it is interesting. Asahi sets the tea fields on fire, unfortunately. And there's a decent chance you just don't walk past it again. Like, I didn't casually. And we obviously didn't in this run. So you might miss that. Like, I saw Momo in heaven, and I was like, why is Momo in heaven?
Yeah. We actually had to go out of our way to route it into 100% because it gives you 300 money, and 100% has a ton of money farming, like 8 minutes of RTA of just sitting there, entering a room and exiting a room over and over, farming money. It's actually a really hype run, and I will say that's probably the weakest part of it. But also, I'm gonna do this boss without Darumas because I'm gonna kill it really fast, even with Darumas, or like even without Darumas. So with Darumas, you wouldn't see the boss. It just wouldn't happen. Nothing would happen. So I'll do it without. Hi, Kitsura.
Kitsura is so metal.
You're my favorite. Don't tell anybody else.
Oh, dang. Yeah. You usually don't get a roar there.
Yeah. Normally have a Jingu going on. I wish I could downgrade my staff.
Yeah.
You're so cool.
That first phase is like pretty easy, even if you're not a world record holder. This phase, on the other hand, oh my gosh, dude, chill out.
Like I said, if I used Darumas, you just wouldn't see the boss. But if you defeat the boss, like there's some stuff in the chest. Who cares about that? You get to pet Kitsura.
Yeah. Look at Bo's little hands.
I love him so much. Oh. puppy.
Oh, so cute.
And then you get like, yeah,
We love puppy.
Obama. I don't know. I unironically don't know if I've ever used that.
I haven't.
That Daruma.
I looked at the card and I said that sounds like it sucks. We are gonna have to test when we get the ability to actually see the damage. We just have to check if it does a lot of damage.
Just to know.
Like, I'm not writing it off yet. There is a shield Daruma written off.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the funny part is we actually wrote off Jingu. At least I did. I know there was one or two other people that did also, because of the way it's described. It's like a homing missile. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, so it's not like a skill to use. It'll just automatically hit things. That'll mean it does less damage than something that you have to aim. No, that is not the case. Jingu does a ton of damage and explodes and can hit multiple enemies. And it is our best DPS Daruma wise. Obviously, our staff is doing the most damage. Wait, what? Whoa.
That was fun.
Okay.
Camera moment.
Yeah, that was weird.
All right.
So, in the beginning, we did the little sumo challenge in Megumi Mountain. This is the challenge version of that. There are going to be 5 stages. Yeah, 5. And once a stage starts of the 5, we can't touch the ground. And there is no ground to touch. And if we ever take damage to the spikes, then we have to start over for all 5. They're all pretty short, but it's one mistake and you just have to go back to the beginning. And our own Mr. Sir here has the world record on this because it gives you a little time at the very end.
One claim to fame. That's what he thought I was going to say earlier. My time's 24 seconds. I definitely challenge you to try and beat it. This is a lot of fun, and really nobody's honestly running it right now. So.
It's always consistent, so you can do a lot of optimizing.
Mm-hmm.
Saved.
Yeah, nice.
You gotta take Ken out, brother.
No. Hard emoji.
Because again, we can Kenpo to kind of save. I found a way to squeeze a lot of cool little movement tech into here.
I didn't see what the time was.
Talk to him. Just talk to him.
It wasn't 23. It'll tell me?
Yep. 30.
Oh, nice.
That's
okay, yeah. Not even close.
Pretty good still, though. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of didn't look like a 30 flat, but that's a really good time. So.
It's almost like visuals is fast or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I try. I try a couple times. So, the last thing we can go check out. This is one of the scariest parts of 100%. It is known as the Fragile Egg Quest. If you've seen Hollow Knight max percentage runs, any 106, 112, anything like that, 107, so Sir doesn't yell at me. This will be very similar to Delicate Flower. It is almost the exact same thing, except for this one's not quite the entire world, but it is it's the hard. It is the hard platforming section. So that's that's what makes it difficult. Is the fact that you have to go through one of the hardest, most treacherous areas instead of the entire world, but still very difficult. I do this little arena first.
And we just get this mountain with a face that doesn't talk and never elaborates.
Yeah.
Not once.
Gives you egg, refuses to elaborate.
Icon.
So we are currently to the right of the East Trial. We didn't actually see this area because there's no reason to come over here to the shrine. Mm-hmm. But we're about halfway up the East Trial, so we have to go through, or about 40% of the way through. We have to go through the remaining 60%, then go back down, and then go through about half of the West Trial, which, if you guys remember, is not fun. And make our way back over to this empty nesters couple to give them the egg. Mm-hmm. And it is very treacherous, but very, when you pull it off, it's very rewarding. But can't cheese it. Don't try. We've tried.
Yeah.
We've tried every way. It doesn't work.
So we are, by the way, about halfway up the East Trial right now, and we have to get to halfway up the West Trial. There's nothing that makes you go one way or the other.
Yeah.
This is going to go just the original intended route through the rest of East Trial, and then go to the bottom and go up the intended route, West Trial. For some reason, there you go.
Missed my shine dash.
Yep.
Yeah.
For some reason, casually,
I just wanted to show you guys that it was hard.
I went down East Trial. I couldn't tell you why, but I will say it was fun to play the area backwards to me.
I meant to shine dash, and if you saw, I dashed, which is, if you were paying attention, not the same as a shine dash.
Oh.
Yeah. You might have missed that part.
Yeah.
The game didn't.
If you're attempting this.
Whoa!
That's fine. Everything's fine.
If you're attempting this,
Save.
and also like same thing for the Delicate Flower and Hollow Knight, it gets tempting to start speedrunning this first part. I'm telling you, it's not worth it.
There we go.
That's the hardest part, by the way, right there, in my opinion, of the whole quest. I mean, it's not. There's more super cool, epic gameplay coming up. My bad.
I mean, keep
Can't believe
watching.
You've done this.
Nah, it gets more stressful towards the end, for sure.
No, for sure, because then,
have to-
more punishing.
Yeah.
I know it hasn't happened yet, but one day I'm going to hit those spikes. I don't know how. Somehow I'm going to hit them. They're just so free to avoid. I'm going to somehow like shine dash hover like right into them. I don't know.
By the way, the cutscene that just played is my favorite one in the whole game. It's so sick, and it happens every time you go down there. Much to my pleasure. If there's an opposite to chagrin, I would have said it, but I don't know it.
Dismay, perhaps?
Well, that's a synonym.
Well,
That's a
wait.
synonym.
I've had this exact conversation with my girlfriend's relatives before.
Yeah,
Right.
these explodey boys are scary. Also, to our knowledge, nobody has lost the fragile egg on that last spike. Someone's gonna be the first. Let us know if you do it, please. It's gonna happen.
And that's the fragile egg quest. Very cool. There's also like, that's actually one of my favorite things about this game, is just the quest system in general. I actually really, really want to create an all quests speedrun. But I do know that the DLC is going to be adding quests. So I am waiting for that to come out so I can route those in, and then we can have all of them. And we'll have one of the categories that like includes the DLC. So that'll be cool. But yeah.
Exciting new things on the horizon.
Yeah. Got some cool stuff coming.
And yeah, I guess that's both.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Time GG.
Oh, yeah.
All right, speaking of cool stuff, do y'all want to give yourself some shout outs?
Yeah. Actually, sir, you can go first. I introduced myself first.
Sure. Yeah. For me, I guess I would just say check out that Sumo Pagoda run we were talking about. My YouTube's Mr. Sir 71, and definitely would recommend you give that run a try, and also the game as a whole. Other than that, just support my boy here, man. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and ostensibly more stuff coming up. So, and definitely watch our run at GDQ this summer.
Yeah, especially if you were there, I will buy you coffee and donuts to be up at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. Sorry, but yeah, I'm Visuals TV on Twitch, Visuals on basically everything else: YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, and I also have a YouTube video that I've been probably the hardest I've ever edited in my entire 12, 13 years of editing videos and streaming, coming out in 15 minutes. So don't go anywhere from here because the next run does sound really cool. And I actually do want to see that game because I've heard really good things. But, pull up another tab and search up Visuals with a Y on YouTube. Have a really cool video coming that should be a lot of fun that is premiering. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And so was this showcase. Thank you both so much for being here. Bo is awesome. Y'all are awesome. And not only that, we are not done with the awesome. We have Pseudoregalia Randomizer coming up for y'all after. Hello, everybody. And just like that, we are back with some more Creature Corner, the GDQ Hotfix show about games that primarily feature non-human protagonists and player characters. And we are just about ready to show y'all Pseudoregalia Randomizer by Jaxler. This is solo randomizer. We're going to learn all about the game. It is a super cool 3D Metroidvania. But right before we get into that, I want to tell y'all about Flame Fatales 2025. Flame Fatales, GDQ's all-women and femme speedrunning community, is preparing for its next event, Flame Fatales. Run submissions will be open from now until June 1st. Type !FF in the chat for information on how to join the Discord and stay up to date with all things Flame Fatales. And now that you all know about that, let's go ahead and get into some Pseudoregalia. Hi, Jaxler.
Hi, Satan. Thank you so much for having me tonight. So this is Pseudoregalia Randomizer. I am Jaxler. I've been running Pseudoregalia pretty much since it came out on the RTA side of things, but I'm going to be showing y'all some of the deviousness of the max settings randomizer for this game. So for those who don't know what a randomizer means for this game, basically all key items like your abilities, some of the bonus upgrades and health pieces that you get have had their locations swapped with each other. In addition to, because of the maximum settings, some other things like, benches and goatlings and scraps of paper on the ground. So there's a ton of really random things that get randomized into the pool too. So it makes it a bit harder for me on my end. The max settings also mean that I have to use pretty much every speedrunner's trick in the book. Because the logic settings for the randomizer expect me to be able to do so. And I'll get into a little bit of what that means as we get further into here. I've also given myself a little bit of an extra rule as far as the showcase goes, which is no looking through walls. And that's something you can use in the randomizer to basically peek through a wall and get a view ahead at what an item location might have. For the sake of making things harder for myself, I have basically made it impossible on the controller side for me to do that. So this will be very interesting. That's the way that I'll put it.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Time will start when I say go. So let's get going in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Okay, Underbelly. So one of the things with the max settings randomizer is that it randomizes your start location. So let me get my bearings here. So ability right here. All right. So first thing I'm doing right off the bat whenever I start any randomizer on the max settings is first of all figure out wherever the hell I am. We're at the exit of Underbelly into Empty Bailey, which is actually a pretty good spawn location, which it's going to save me a little bit of backtracking because there is one item check in the Empty Bailey that I can get right away, but it takes forever if you have to go the long way. I'm going to do a little bit of a checkpoint warp. This is one of those things that, again, the game expects you to know all of the speedrun tricks possible. So you can actually death abuse right there by standing on the right spot to get put up here, which normally I don't have any Mumia abilities yet, so I'm not supposed to be able to be up here yet in casual play, right? That is a small key, so we're going to do a bit of a tight jump. I totally missed it, but that's fine. I am actually going to reset to my last save and give that another shot. So I think I did that jump for the wrong spot. So max settings randomizer, right, expects you to do all sorts of speedrunning tricks and stuff like that for what's called the game's logic. So the logic for any given randomizer is basically a way of preventing the game from making it uncompletable. So for example, it won't randomize an item typically that is used to unlock itself. So for example, there's a ground pound move in this game. It won't be locked behind something that needs ground pound in order to be able to access it, right? The rules for that, however, are very flexible because with things like out of bounds and speedrunning tricks, a lot of item locations have been opened up as a result. So there we go.
Nice.
So we're going to go ahead and grab that small key. It's not super useful for us yet, simply because I don't have a weapon yet. So that's one of the other things that's really scary about max rando settings is normally you start out in the dilapidated dungeon, and in pretty much every randomizer setting for that, you are just given the Dreambreaker by default in its default location. I got to go find it. So I am defenseless at the moment. So we're going to head upstairs here. And so there's kind of the general logic for whenever you start out a given randomizer is you want to go for what are called the Sphere Zero checks, meaning things that do not require any abilities. And I'm also going to take a peek at that goatling over there. Say hi to the goatling. One of the big things with a randomizer too is the concept of getting vision, meaning that even if we can't pick something up, we can at least look at it from a distance to get an idea if it's worth coming back for later. So that way we're not doubling back a lot. A lot of the routing that goes into mine with randomizer runs is sort of making sure that you're avoiding that backtracking whenever possible. Okay, we got an ability on an indignation. That's pretty good. So this is one of our easier Sphere Zero checks. With the max rando settings, there's a big cluster of stuff that gets randoed in. Sunsetter, okay. Oh, I get this. Hold on, I might be able to get that ability over there. This is gonna suck, but I'm gonna see if I can get this ability over here. If not, like I said, there's a cluster of things I can go check right away. Let me see if I can get this. Ah, almost.
Oh, that was so close.
I might not even need the backflip here, but... There we go, nice.
Nice.
And it was my Dreambreaker, okay, very worth. So, I don't think I needed the backflip there, but Sunsetter is a very interesting first ability to get. So, because the ground pound has an attack hitbox with Sunsetter, it actually counts as, in logic, something that you can use to open locked doors and break down walls. But we got the Dreambreaker anyway, so that wasn't even really super necessary. Yeah, so you're seeing a bunch of Klingdom, nice. So you're seeing a bunch of the goatlings here and some like random hay bales. Those are the goatlings and basically benches that get randoed in as well. This, like I said, this cluster here usually has a ton of good stuff because there's like a lot of goatlings and stuff over here. That's a heart piece. I don't really need it, so we're just going to turn around. And so we got some movement already, which is pretty sweet. We have our Cling Gem, which allows us to wall run, which if you needed an excuse to play this game, let that be your excuse because you can wall run, and that's freaking awesome. All right. So we're going to do something called wall cling regrabs right there in order to basically... Oh, Jesus. Nice. So that's a major key. We need 5 of those in order to beat the seed. So that's one done already. That's pretty nice.
1 of 5 for go time.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right, and we're just going to head right into Dilapidated Dungeon here. So, actually, you know what? What I'm going to do here, so one of the big things, I'm going to go ahead and grab a save real quick for a trick. Because one of the things that I have disbarred myself from doing for the sake of this showcase, mostly because it would greatly just trivialize some of the like aspects of this, is the looking through walls tech. So I'll give you an example of it over here. So for this item check over here, for example, if I go into first person mode and walk along the wall, you can just look through the wall. And so I can like basically get information on like a ton of checks in the game without even remotely having the resources to access them. And that can be like kind of fun for this ability down there. Noted. So because of that, like it allows you to like get away with like not spending resources like that small key. So I'm actually going to go ahead and spend that small key right there because mostly I want to check what's on Strong Eyes. The big thing we're looking for right now is our slide, which once we get our slide, we are going to be able to cook like Omega hard. And we can already cook pretty hard with the wall cling. Something I'm doing a lot here is I'm wall clinging off of a wall and then jumping off of it right away so I can start bunny hopping. Pretty much anything that gives you speed in this game, you can chain those into bunny hops. That allows you to move along a bit faster.
And bunny hopping in a game where we're basically a bunny?
Exactly.
Awesome.
You know, I know, pretty foreign concept. But yeah, there is an ability down here. We're getting loaded with the. Oh, okay. So we got close. We got Solar Wind. So this is one of those really fun little evil settings that I enabled, which is non-progressives. So that also makes it kind of crazy that we got Dreambreaker as early as we did. So what the progressive item setting normally is that it treats certain upgrades as progressive, meaning that when you so there's basically a slide and a slide jump upgrade, and it treats those basically as the same thing. So if you get the first one of the two, you get oh great, another small key. If you get the first one of those two, you get slide. You get the second one, you get the slide jump. I have that turned off because that's too easy. That's all you need to know. It's too easy.
And we cannot have that.
Nope, we cannot have that here.
On our creature corner tonight. No.
All right, so we got that small key here. And so just looking at our abilities really quick, we have our Dreambreaker, so we can break walls. We have Sunsetter, which gives us some vertical mobility, which is really helpful. And we have 2 charges of Wall Cling. And so if you've played this game before, 2 charges of Wall Cling might sound really weird. One of the cool settings that they added in with the randomizer is the ability to split the upgrades of the wall kicks and the wall runs into basically 3 separate pickups. And so as a result, that gives us the ability, but like sort of like less charges of it to use, which I find to be more fun even on easier settings. I don't know. It just forces you to be a lot more creative. So normally when you get wall clings in casual playthrough, you get 6 uses of the wall run before you have to touch down on solid earth. But I only get 2. So we're going to go ahead and check slide real quick. That is a hay bale. You're going to see a lot of just like floating hay bales or just like random little dudes walking around. If we end up having a goatling spawn there. That's one of the other things with the max settings that I personally enjoy playing the most on is, oh, I don't have that enabled. Sorry. Don't worry about that window resizing. That totally won't come up later. That's something I was trying to throw my weapon so that you could actually see in here, but we're not going to have that luxury this time. Sorry, y'all.
That's okay. We trust that you're doing cool gameplay.
Totally,
See the character
yeah.
flipping around. It's all good. Speaking of, do we want to talk a little bit about who you are playing as and what this game kind of is in general?
Yeah. So we're playing as a goat bunny lady named Sybil. That's the best I can describe her as. I'm not really great at following along with the lore of this game just because it's pretty like... It kind of is one of those games that forces you to put the pieces together. But this game is, you know, a 3D Metroidvania platformer. So my joke is I like to call this game Castlevania 64 if it were good. Which no shade to people who love Castlevania 64, but you know, that just goes to show how good this game is. This was made by pretty much a solo dev. Ooh, we got a Gorb. And
Gorb, let's go! Gorb.
Whenever we're opening up the green orbs or the gorbs, as I like to say, there's the big thing we're looking for are wall kicks. Oh wait, I don't even have to go this way. I have wall clings. We're looking for those gorbs. Oh, okay. No, I have to go this way now. I sealed my fate. Sorry, where was I? The gorbs, right? Gorbs. The gorbs have the potential to give us charges of wall kicks, which allows us to wall bounce, which is really fun. I'm gonna see if I can skip this room. Nice, I skipped it. Awesome. So the trigger for the room they're locking in and forcing us to... wait, hold on a second. Let me see if I can swag out. Nice.
Oh.
So that's something called a gainer. It's basically a backflip that sends you forwards. Whenever you're like walking... Here, I can show you actually in a second while we wait for this platform. Whenever you're walking forward and you try turning around, you do that skid animation, right? And so if you do a jump during that, you'll do kind of this backflip thing, right? And so once you get that backflip going, it'll conserve like any speed that you have going into it. So if I like ceiling boost here, for example, I can do a gainer like that and I just missed both platforms. That's really funny. But that becomes really broken when you get the slide upgrade, which is pretty much the big thing I'm looking for right now. What we do have knowledge on right now is that there's that upgrade right near the spawn room. And so I've actually routed this. That's part of the reason why I went straight to Dilapidated Dungeon after getting the upgrades that I did. And the reason for that is that empties out pretty naturally. Jeez, we're getting a lot of costume. Hey, we'll throw one on. We'll do Soul Sister. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this game is a super cool speed game. I haven't mentioned it quite yet tonight, but today's kind of a double SGDQ preview because while the Pseudo-Rando will not be at SGDQ, Pseudoregalia will be. So if you want to see this game speedrun in all its glory, definitely check that out. ! SGDQ in chat for all that information.
Yeah, no, that's going to be... I'm actually going to be on couch for that because my there's our slide. Perfect. My buddy Wilbun is going to be doing a 100% run of what's called the Full Gold Patch, which I can talk a little bit about, actually, in a second. But we have Slide now. And we have Slide and Slide Jump pretty early, which is a bit interesting. Is it worth it for me to check... I'm sorry, I'm Routing brain took over there for a second.
You're good. You got to figure out the game as you are going live. This is hard stuff to do.
Yeah.
Feel free to
I think we're going to go get some vision here. Yeah. So vision is power when it comes to randomizer. Usually it's just like really inconvenient to route in this tower remains area. That looks like nothing at the top. Sweet. And I think barely just have... we might actually not have enough here to technically get up here, but I can try. One of the things that changed with it, this area in a recent patch is it changed some of the geometry to make this strat kind of harder, but... I'll give this like 3 or 4 tries and then we'll just leave. This is pretty tough, but let me see what I can do. I'm a god. Okay, sweet.
Oh, that was awesome.
So what I'm doing here are called Slide Ultras. I talked a bit earlier about, I can't believe I hit that. I did not warm up before this because I was taking a nap. Oops. Anyway, so...
We don't have to talk about the nap.
Oh, did I just jump myself off? Oh, I totally did. Nice. Well, I get to do that again.
Get to see the cool tech again.
Yeah, we get to see the cool tech again. So I'm doing something called a Slide Ultra, where essentially using that gainer flip, I am redirecting the momentum from a slide jump into a different direction, and then I'm chaining that twice, and then I'm trying to wall glide. Well, now we know it's possible, at least. I don't even know if this is in logic, but it's probably... Oh, that's... Okay, that's just perfect. Awesome. I gotta be really careful. I don't have any wall kicks, so I don't really have any leniency when it comes to like the little intangible type mistakes. So I gotta be like really careful how I do this. I think I am just going to do that. Yeah, I think Sunsetter is actually what makes this in logic. There's a good chance too that there's an upgrade that I don't have. That's just like a Sphere Zero check. That's like in logic. All right, we're not getting like super rewarded for it unless this is a air kick of some kind. So I gotta do some really funky ultras here.
The reward was seeing the precise movement in my eyes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's not over yet because I get to do another ultra here. There we go. And so those ultras are actually pretty tricky. It's a pretty tight turnaround window. Clear my... Damn it. Well, here's the nice thing is we get to open this area up for later. So we don't have to come back here. So again, even though we got nothing out of all that, what we got is information. And information is power, right? So...
That's right.
Oh my good lord. Okay. There we go. So the thing that's like really weird about those like big like yellow after image jumps that I'm getting is you kind of like have to flick your stick back and forth to get the forward angle. And then you're also like jumping twice. There's like a ton of like little like button presses that you're doing along the way to get those to work. And it's... Oh, that's right. I didn't get vision here because I'm not a cheater this time. So we're going to add another hay bale. So we're seeing a lot of hay bales early. I have a sneaking suspicion that there's probably some good stuff in theater. But I don't really I do have the resources to go to theater, but I don't really want to go there yet. And the reason for that is I still, I kind of ended up bypassing some early checks. So we're going to retrace our steps a little bit here. I'm going to go through this upper part called Sansa Keep, and we're going to take a peek in here. Yeah, obviously, I'm going to be... apologies if I'm riffing around, but Satan, if you have like any questions about like at any point, like about how the rando works or just like anything that comes to mind either from you or the chat, just let me know. Because otherwise I will just blabber the whole time because that's what I do.
I mean, well, you are the expert, so we do absolutely want to hear you blabber. I guess my question is I know we need 5 large keys to finish the randomizer. What are those 5 large keys going to do? Like when we hit that 5th, do we just win, or does that unlock an area that we are going to go to?
Yeah, so that unlocks an area for us. So that Tower Remains area that we were in, where I did that cool funky skip. There is a locked door at the very top, and oh hey, another one, and an air kick. Nice. So all 5 of those keys together will unlock that door for us, and we need to unlock that door in order to go to the final boss. So that makes us 2. Yeah, exactly. We picked up an air kick as well now, which is gonna probably just allow me to pretty freely check what this is. Oh, this is gonna be another funky one again.
I like how when we were talking about the keys, you just got another one. So, yep, 2 for 5 already.
That's a green orb. I wanted the gorb.
I'm sorry, I just like that word. I think we're up to 5.
How do I want to do this? This is probably not enough height. Yeah, okay, I definitely don't have the resources for that. So we are going to make the executive decision to skip it. And that's okay, because the green orbs, like I said, they give you that air kick, but other than that, there's like one thing that can give you that's like really nice to have, but not necessary, right? So some of the air kicks might be necessary for like logical progression to get to some of the areas because of those like really hard trick settings. But other than that, generally as the randomizer goes on, those gorb checks, I'm sorry. I like wall glided like sideways. That was really weird. Yeah, I don't know. Pseudoregalia, everybody. Ability, okay. Okay, more cling gems, nice. So like I said, the cling gems are split into 3 sets of 2. So now we have 4 to work with. So I could actually probably go back and get that green orb right now if I really wanted to, but I don't want to actually. I don't think it's super necessary for me. So, and that's one of those decisions that you kind of have to. Yeah, that's one of those decisions you kind of have to make in like randomizers, especially like when you're like racing a rando of this game. Is like that's a gorb right there, and it's like, do I really need to go and get that? Not necessarily, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And this is actually the first randomizer that we've ever had on Creature Corner, by the way. So,
oh, really?
Huge. Yeah, but I love randos because they really are about that judgment call, right? And I feel like that's something that we don't get to see a ton in standard speedruns a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But when you know a game really well and you get to make those decisions and, you know, decide what's worth it and what's not worth it, I think that's super cool to watch people do. One of my favorite things for sure.
Oh, it was map too, damn it. That's one of the funniest things about rando sometimes is like you do all this effort to like do a check and it's like, rats, memento. I actually went back on my word and went and checked that because in these settings, that is actually a upgrade that you can get with no resources. So, all right, we're going to do our first wall clip here. So if you go into acute angles and do the wall cling in the right spots, you can basically start the wall cling with your position placed out of bounds. And so this is mostly just for a platforming bit here to let us check Sunsetter. And Sunsetter this whole area was just kind of bust. So I'm actually going to reset to last save. That's why I took that save crystal earlier. So I could just come in here and check. That's a small key, so we're gonna ignore that. Cool, cool, cool. and I'm going to make a brief for it. So I'm going to actually take a quick detour to go back into Underbelly here. There's 2 checks over here that are kind of annoying to get otherwise. Oop. Yeah, one of the tricky things with rando movement especially is that because every seed you have different tools. Yeah, that was worth. Every seed you have different tools available to you. So it can be pretty easy to get kind of mixed up. I shouldn't have actually broken those because. So the rules I've set for myself with regards to peeking at things early don't permit me to just cheat and use first person mode to look through. But if I get out of bounds fair and square, I will allow myself to take a peek through walls because then it actually requires like game knowledge, right? That is a Gorb. That is not worth the effort. So I got another air kick from that Gorb pickup at the start of this Underbelly section. So we're just going to get the hell out of Dodge here. And so kind of my logic right now as I'm routing this is I'm just making sure I'm getting all like the really obvious stuff out of the way. Because typically the way the logic is set up is it will give you movement abilities that it thinks you will need to progress to some of the harder to get stuff, right? So because of that, sometimes it can double up on some good movement skills, which I can make good use of just to get around a bit faster. And then also, the way I have this routed, I can kind of come back here later. Something you might be seeing as well that might be unfamiliar if you've played this game is this weird little backflip I'm doing. That's something actually that Sunsetter allows me to do. So whenever you do like the Sunsetter, you can cancel it midway with a jump, and you get that weird kind of flip. And that kind of actually gives you another resource that you can use. Is that helpful? That gives me one thing. That little flip that it gives you, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it lets you do like so many nice little things. It can like let you reset your wall cling mid stride. I can't believe I lived that. Yeah, there's a big puzzle platforming section here that I'm just going to ignore. Another Gorb. Pilgrimage, not very good. But again, these are kind of some of the like.
Gorb in chat. It's catchy.
I love Gorb. Forfeit all mortal possessions to Gorb.
To Gorb, yes.
Heart piece. All right, Gazebo had an ability this whole time. Yeah, Gazebo, those 2 checks right there were actually 2 early game checks that I abandoned pretty quickly because I got movement so early. So that's a heart piece. We call that check Bubble Girl because there's a goatling there that calls us Bubble Girl, which is a little rude. Definitely, okay. So I can definitely check that Gorb I skipped in the Dilapidated Dungeon. So with all this stuff I have, it's kind of leading me in the... I'm trying to think how to phrase this. There's like one specific check in Underbelly that it might really want me to get. It might also be feeding me all of this for a time trial pickup in Dilapidated Dungeon, so... What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to go into what's called Upper Castle Sansa. There are 4 checks in this direction, and it's also a really convenient throughway into theater, which is a pretty, I wouldn't say, like, kind of endgame-ish area, just in terms of the difficulty of the platforming and some of the stuff that you get there. All right, how do I want to tackle this?
I had a quick question from chat. I noticed as well that when you acquired the light ability that you had before, it said basically if you attack an enemy, you can jump off of that.
Yes.
And they asked, they haven't noticed any particular things that might particularly be enemies. So the question is sort of, what's an enemy? Where can you use that?
Yeah, so you can, I have to go the other way. You can use that off of enemies. So basically any enemy, if you attack them while you are in midair, it will trigger the bounce from Ascendant Light. It will also trigger off of other things that you can hit with your weapon besides locked doors. So this lever, for example, bowing, just like that.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And so like those swinging axes right there, I could actually bounce off of too. And that's actually a trick that is expected in the hard settings, is knowing that you can bounce off the axes. Wow. The other big thing is you can bounce off of torches. And And so it's one of those abilities that's a nice to have, but not like a hard requirement. Also, I'm going to show you all a check that most people don't even know this room exists. Oh, and we got martial prowess. Perfect. So that's like the one thing that I didn't mention about Gorbs that's like the nice to have, is that's essentially a double damage upgrade. And that combined with Indignation, which is one of the abilities we picked up, we essentially have quadruple damage now. So that's really good. It has basically kind of made it so that I really don't have to worry about the Gorbs that much anymore. Hey, Bale. So martial prowess was like the one big thing that kept me looking for Gorbs, and I am now liberated from my search. So, all right, we're heading into theater now.
That means fewer Gorbs, though.
If I see a Gorb, I'll pick up a Gorb, you know. There is one Gorb in particular that is technically has no mechanical benefit, but it is just the best outfit in the game. Okay, I'm gonna do a really funny vision check here. So this is something called T-Tech, so don't blink. And we're out of bounds. Okay, hey, another Gorb. So what I did, and this is where I get to make use of some of that vision stuff I was talking about. I'm gonna experiment here a little bit because I've actually never been out of bounds like this way. So I'm gonna vibe here. I'm gonna hope. Okay, let's see.
Entirely new out of bounds tech happening right now.
So what I'm looking for is to fall on this ceiling until the game gets confused and gives me my jumps back. I'm essentially doing like an out of bounds I normally do backwards for some vision here.
Ooh, cool.
2, I might not have the resources for it, but we will try it.
This game's so cool.
1. Oh, and I missed the... So something I'm doing a couple of different techs here. The first thing I'm doing there are what are called moon kicks. Oh, I can definitely get that. Okay. I just got to approach it differently. So with the slide jump, oh, that's close. Let me think. Different approach. Hold on. I'm going to just lock in for... Oh, I can do it if I do it into this wall.
I'm happy to make some announcements if you want to lock in.
No need. I got it.
Excellent.
And it's a small key. Nice. That's why you get vision, everybody. And so I appreciate that, though, Satan. So
you did it amazing. That was super
there's a couple of things I'm doing there. Oh, that's okay. That's an ability. I don't care about that. There is no ability that could be in there that would be worth me going through the effort of checking that. So we're not going to bother. We're just going to go ahead and do another wall cling clip. Ah, it's useless. Tragic. And then we are going to do the bonk clip. Sorry, this is just... Oh, I don't have...
Clip after clip after clip. Tech after
I'm going to have to do the hard mode. Uh-oh. So basically, I need to slide under this gate as I hit it.
Nice.
This is like one of the hardest, like,
Yeah,
normally you,
This
actually, are there any enemies in here that I could, because if I'm gonna go this way, and, but I don't have Soul Cutter, so I can't go this way. Right, give me a second to figure out how to unstick myself in the situation I put myself in.
You are fine. All right. While you puzzle that out,
got it.
I will...
Nice.
Oh.
Nope. I'm not even gonna let you have that one.
What's that? Yeah, I just got threatened to make announcements, and you're like, "I've got it."
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
Incredible.
there we go. And now let's go back in bounds, shall we? Let's take that save before I cause any more problems.
Excellently done. That looked very difficult. Also, Gorb.
Gorb. And it was another air kick, so
Nice.
And there's pretty much one Gorb left in the game that has an air kick. There's actually 4 air kicks. What does he have to say? Nothing interesting. There's like a tradition with playing like the Goatling rando in this game where if you run into a Goatling, you have to talk to him. That's just kind of the rule. I support this too. I don't make the rules, you know.
Yeah, you just follow them.
And then there's one like Goatling chick over here that's like really out of the way. And yeah, you kind of saw that little flip that I did right there that I was able to essentially reset my check the Gorb. If it's Sweater, I'm keeping it. It's good graces. So one of the nice things about the save crystals is you can sort of quit and reload and then not even have to bother with but yeah, there's this Gorb too. And right there I'm doing a trick called reverse wall kicks, where I basically wall kick away from a... Alright, we'll go talk to him. I wall kick away from a given surface, and then move myself towards it. So I'll give you another example. So I wall kick like this direction, and then I drift into the wall, and so that forces your wall kick to go upwards instead of like out and away from the wall you did it off of, right? So I can use that to essentially get vertical in like really precarious spots, which is really, really helpful. So there we go. We're just going to clip right through. That's a glitch called T-Tech, where if you press like either full screen... Hold on. Okay, saved.
Nice save.
Nope, not saved.
Oh,
I'm doomed. Okay, we're going to have to try that again. So I'm just attempting to bypass most of theater here by just going this way with that out of bounds bit. But if you're on certain like surfaces, like typically it's walls like these that you are on the out of bounds side from, if you press F10 or something to like lag the game, such as resizing the window, it will just force you through because Unreal Engine. And so I can use that to get in and out of bounds pretty much at will. That's going to let me hit that lever right there, which I believe you normally are expected to use Soul Cutter for, question mark? I don't know. I always just hit it manually. We'll go ahead and check the Gorb for posterity's sake. Oh, it's our last air kick. Okay, now there is literally zero incentive for me to check
okay,
Gorbs.
we can make that the Gorb finale.
I still, if it's close, I may still check one because there is one outfit that's very, very good that I would be very down to.
I am enticed by this prospect, so.
We'll see if we get it. I'm going to go for the swag strat here.
Also, chat is loving the resolution changes every time.
It's a little jarring, I know, so apologies if it's... I'll try to point out when it happens. But... Yeah, so these time trials were actually added in with the most recent update of the game called the map patch. And what these do is they're the typical source for a lot of these Gorbs that give you costumes. And so those are also, fair game for the randomizer as well to have something important. So, all right, we're actually, what way do I want to go here? I said earlier we needed to dip back through Dilapidated Dungeon. But I think I would like to visit Library first. So this is actually like an exit that I don't take very often because it's like never really the right routing play to go this way. But in this specific case, I think it's the way to go here. So one of my weaknesses as a randomizer player is I almost kind of, actually I need to key save here. So something we do a lot with the small keys is that we can check something that's locked behind a small key gate. And then if it's something good, you keep it. If it's something bad, you quit and reload and hold on to the key for later. And so I'm going to go ahead and check this time trial real quick, which pretty quick one, only a 15-second window. So you actually have to clear the bronze time on the time trial to unlock whatever the upgrade is here. Let's see what it is. It's nothing.
Yay!
Yay! Nothing.
Nothing. Thank you, Gabe.
It's like that. What is it? The frickin' the pull cord on the magic conch from SpongeBob. Nothing.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Ooh, another Gorb for you.
Gorb?
Bleeding Heart. That's a pretty decent costume, but I kind of like the one we have right now.
The one we have right now is beautiful. I really like it.
Yeah. That check right there is really funny because it's like, that's like a big reason why I'm forcing like the restriction of being able to look through walls on myself, because I would have known that was a Gorb from like the start of the scene if I could look through that wall. But because I like self-imposed that upon myself, oh, hey, another one. The game really wants you to have your Gorbs, and I respect it, honestly.
it's the Gorb special. Thank you, randomizer.
So this is the only locked door in the game that has two things behind it, and we are going to reset to last save and hold on to that key. I don't technically need, the only key I would potentially need is the last one in Underbelly. That's the only one that has like any like checks behind it, right? But having an extra small key can be a nice shortcut, so I'm holding on to it for now in case I'm in a situation where I want to head to, like Sansa Keep, for example, is probably the biggest example. It lets me access a shortcut. Yeah, so this is another time trial that pretty much requires like no resources to be able to access. Oh, I got like a gold time on that. Nice.
Ooh.
And nothing. Okay, so we are going to head through here. All right, another Gorb. Professionalism. I'm not here.
Nope, not there.
I'm not here.
Figment of all of our collective imagination, all at the same time.
Yeah, so kind of what's going through my head right now as far as the routing goes, generally because the game has like a logic system, once you've like played enough of the randomizer, you can kind of start to deduce patterns in what the game might be expecting you to go do next, based on the items that are given to you. And so right now, just kind of based on the items that have been given to me, if you will, I feel like the game is kind of leading me towards a very specific check in Dilapidated Dungeon. That being the Dilapidated Dungeon time trial, which is actually in the starting room of the game casually. Wow, absolute bust of a listless library. Okay. That's how it goes. So I'm kind of incentivized to head in that direction right now because it gave me Ascendant Light, it gave me Solar Wind, and a bunch of like just vertical tools. And even though we're on the hardest settings, the rando still kind of assumes that you need a fair bit of movement utility in order to be able to access that. Do I want to dip into... Yeah, honestly, this is probably the best time to do this if we're going to do it.
I have in chat somebody wondering if the rando is native to the game or if it's something that fans made.
This is fan made, so I cannot remember the name of the person who made this specific build of the rando, but it is fan made and it is freely accessible. So if anybody needs a link to that, let me know. There is also definitely a link in the Pseudoregalia community Discord, which has a bunch of lovely people in it. So we're going to go do like the big parkour challenge that normally unlocks a major key in casual play. There's basically 3 checks that we get along this path. We get a look at what is normally like one of those like hay bales. That's the word. I'm like struggling with the words. That maybe that's just because I woke up. But all right, I was going to beat
You're
up
also
some
like playing
here.
a rando and talking all the time at the same time and doing hard movement. So it might be that.
It might be that. And we got another Gorb for good measure. Good Graces isn't too much of a problem to have. So one of the things with this game actually is like the final boss for this game, if you have like no upgrades, is actually really hard. So it especially like sometimes you might actually opt, like in some rare situations, you might actually have everything you need to beat the game, but you might still opt to just like chill out for a second, just to make sure that you have like enough to have, because like technically you can beat the fight, but it might be faster if you have some more equipment on you to be able to take that on a bit faster, right? So all right, so vanilla major key, my intuition was correct. And then this is another section. This is kind of why I hesitated for a second and wanted to come here. is because there's this time trial in here as well. Okay, nice wall kick game. Yeah, the nice thing is I have so many resources at my disposal. Oh, and I lived. Okay. This game will just not let me talk today. All right, there we go. This looks like a semblance of how I would normally do this now, so. There we go. That's the last one. A double major key in here. So that puts us at 4 of 5.
Oh,
Okay.
double. Wow. All right. Kicked into high gear.
Yup. So basically what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go back to that shortcut I took. I'm going to go head back in the dilapidated dungeon. There's a couple. So we checked strong eyes, right? Oh, right. I can actually go in here. We checked strong eyes already. I got vision on another check that was in there, but there's 2 things I wasn't able to really fully check. This is the wrong way. Yeah, this room in particular is pretty easy to get disoriented in. In the original release of the game, there actually was no map whatsoever. So it was pretty easy to get lost. Now that I am oriented, I know which way I'm going. What direction do I want to go here? This is probably fastest, right? All right, we're going to do another cool wall clip. Hopefully. This one's a little tricky. Nice. So that lets us get through that door right there without the small key. Again, when you use the wall cling at specific angles, you can actually initiate the wall cling inside of the wall. And that allows us to get... Actually, why am I doing it this direction? I forgot I was supposed to go do time trial. No worry. We'll figure it out. The heart piece. All right. This probably isn't fast, but this is a really cool strat. So, rats. I'm trying to do a cling clip off of this corner right here to get myself out of bounds. And sometimes when you do it, you just drop through. It'll let me do the trick I want to do. That'll be really nice. Give it a couple more tries, and then I'll just... Oh my good lord. Game is so rude.
Come on, game. Be nice.
Give it one more shot. Come on. And my camera angle's off. Wow. Okay, that is just misbehaving. We are going to ignore it. So you can get out of bounds there and then just like climb around out of bounds. It really doesn't make sense for our situation here, honestly, for me to even be doing that. But I'm just kind of trying to find ways to swag out here a little bit, because it's hotfix and all that. So trying to show you all the cool stuff because I'm secretly just here to try to get you all to buy this game. This game's only like $6 on Steam. It's like criminally underpriced.
Correct. This is awesome.
Please buy this game, support indie devs, and all that jazz. There we go. This is the way I should have gone the entire time, but no matter. Yeah, so this is a bit of a trickier time trial here. So having Ascendant Light here is going to be really helpful as well. There's some little things we can do. Okay, I gotta back this up real quick. Give me a moment. Didn't give me the ledge grab. Let's try it like this. Yeah, this will do better. Sorry, I'm just locking in for a second here. This is I would argue this is maybe I would say probably second hardest of the time trials in the game. This one's really rough sometimes, such as right now. But I should still be good to clear the part time.
Feel free to lock in.
There we go. Small key. Okay, I'll grab that just in case. I don't think I need it, but it makes me feel better, so we're gonna grab it. Yeah, so that check, I kind of had a suspicion that it wanted me to go there. With the set I have, I thought it's kind of leaning me towards two specific item checks. Either That one or the martial prowess check. So that gorb we got earlier for martial prowess, the OG location for that, I thought might have something. Which I'm going to go head to now. And I actually get, because of the gear I have, I get to show you a little preview, hopefully, of what Wolbun will be doing in 100% to get this item. Which I'm super excited. By the way, make sure you tune into that as well.
Oh yeah, at GDQ, it's if I remember correctly, Tuesday afternoon is when
I want to say that's correct.
I think that's
all right. So here's the strat. So this is gonna give us vision either way too. So we're gonna clip out here, and this is gonna allow us to slide jump to this pillar in the distance, and then we can slide jump to these wooden blocks right here. All right, so I see it now that it's a gore, but we're gonna go grab it anyway, because this will put us. We're back. We'll sit on the bench. Sorry about that, y'all. I have no idea what's going on with my internet right now. But we're living. We're doing our best, right? So luckily the house heart piece, which was a pretty easy check, did not have my major key. So I rolled a pretty schnasty little seed here, which is fun. So I think we're pretty much going to end up doing like every time trial this seed.
That's if it ends because they are fun to watch.
Yeah. We're gonna go do Empty Bailey's next, and if this doesn't have the major key, then it has to be on the Tower Remains somewhere, because I believe I have literally checked everything else. Oh, we get to do this strat. I haven't done this strat in forever, because there we go. That gets us up to here. All right, let's cook ourselves up a route here. So I'm doing a trick right there called moon kicks. So after you do air kicks, right? After you do your slide jump, you're kind of briefly put in this anti-grav state, and you can actually extend the duration of that anti-grav like property by doing certain actions like those air kicks. So you can actually get these like really like ridiculously like, here, I can show you another example actually. Like you see how I just kind of like float into position there? Those are the moon kicks. And so that allows you to get a lot of height. It kind of ends up in a weird way, kind of turning Sunsetter into not the most useful upgrade to speedrunners, just because you don't really need the ground pound when you can just get that much height, more height faster, right? Which is kind of wild to think about. I'll sweep and grab that one at the end. Doing this a little different than I normally do. Give me just a second too. I'm also like slightly terrified that my internet will internet again. So I'm like, I
actually think I want the internet to keep internet.
that would be my preference as well. There it is. There's that last major key. Okay, there we go.
Yay!
So we are now officially go mode. So we now have everything we need to go unlock the door to the final boss. So that is exactly what we are going to do. Alrighty. And so we're actually, because we almost hundoed the seed, we actually are kind of like well on our way to just kind of clobbering the princess fight at the end here. Satan, can I ask how we're doing like time-wise? Because
you're doing fantastic. We are at 51 minutes. And
we have plenty of time. Awesome. So you know what? As a treat, because I'm gonna come in way underestimate here, because this, despite me having almost under the seed was relatively nice to the order it gave me the items. Boss. That too.
You're just that fast.
Yeah. Allegedly. How about we do the time trial in here just for fun? This is like by far the hardest time trial, so I'm just morbidly
ready.
Purposes. Honestly, that probably was it. So we got to go all the way up here and hit this lever. What's up, dude? Please leave me alone. I will kill again.
Again. Uh-oh.
That's half the reason we go and search for the goatlings sometimes, is just to see if we can find that one in particular. He's great. Oh my goodness. Please give me movement. All right, here we go.
Not know goats were so dangerous.
All right, well, we're down here now. Not the way I normally like doing that. Usually I like to end with these 3 blorbs. We had gorbs, now we got blorbs.
Blorb. I love that. Oh no, are we blorb or are we gorb, chat? Let me know. Which one do you prefer? Good save.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement redirection. The actual like IL for the it is the gorb. Okay, this might be sweater. This might be sweater.
Oh,
Please be sweater. Please be
we're
sweater.
excited.
Please. Damn it!
No, the gorb.
It was the other gorb.
No, that's so
No.
no.
We did get our last clear mind though, so we get an extra bar of that meter. I never explained how the meter mechanic works, so it essentially works the way Hollow Knights does, where you can spend a chunk of it to heal. But with the ability Indignation that we got pretty early on, if you have full, like 3 bars or higher, you get double damage. And so that 4th bar actually basically allows me to have a heal in reserve without risking me losing my double damage. All right, time for the final boss. So we're going to start by...
Everybody's just going to have to buy the game for sweater, by the way.
Exactly.
Continue.
So we call this the Truth Nuke. This is a double damage dealing wonton bomb, for lack of a better term. I am at risk of dying right now. Okay, it despawned. So in the original release of the game, you could actually reflect that back at her, and like run it into her. But they patched that out of the game because no fun allowed, I guess. So I have a very specific like attack loop I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to use some of those like charged attacks from Strike Break in order to squeeze in some extra damage. All right, that jingle is the halfway point, so I'm taking this a little safe just to... Oh my goodness, she gave me the aerial truth nuke. Okay, great. All right, and this is another very scary attack. I have to heal here. Okay. There we go. Okay, I have control of the fight now. So something I did at the very start of the fight is I actually hit her while she was standing there mid-air, and that actually messes with the princess's AI. Oh, that's time. Perfect. All right.
Nice.
So hitting her mid-air like that actually messes with her AI pretty severely, causing her to like chain into multiple attacks different ways. And so as a result, it got a little scary there because I didn't pick up much in the way of heart containers. But we lived. We came out the victor against literally all the odds today. We lived.
Every odd, from the internet to sleep mode to everything.
Oh, good lord. I'm curious, what was my final time, even with that extra?
It is coming up right now, 56:30.
Wow. So again, the reason the estimate is as long as it is honestly, sometimes the game just doesn't give you slide, and slide just like completely revolutionizes how quickly you can get around this game. So if you don't get your slide early, it's pretty rough. That's part of the reason I turned off progressives, because it's just more fun. Right? But yeah, that was Pseudoregalia, everybody. I've been Jaxler. Thank you so much, Satan, for having me on the Corner of Creatures.
Of course. This was fantastic.
Yeah. If you're interested in checking out this game yourself, again, this is only $6 on Steam. An earlier version of this game, what's called the Full Gold patch, has Archipelago support as well. So if you're looking for an archipelago game to pick up, this is a really solid archipelago rando game. Really, really fun with friends. And the random for this game is also just awesome too. If you're at all interested in like the community for this game, you can go to speedrun.com/Pseudoregalia, and that should take you to the Goodnight Sunlight Discord. That is like the developers like Discord for all the games he works on, including this game. We have speedrun channels there, modding channels right there. There are a ton of custom outfit mods for this game, because people like their creatures and all sorts of cool outfits, you know. This game's awesome. It's got a huge community to it. So if you're looking for somewhere to hang that's really chill, really inclusive, Pseudoregalia is a great place to hang out. And like I said, be sure to check out the GDQ run that will be happening on Tuesday of that week. I want to say like 4 p.m. Eastern-ish. I'm going to be on couch for that. It's going to be done by the excellent Will Bunn, who is the best hundo player right now. That is going to be really, really exciting. You do not want to miss that. If you don't want to miss anything I have going on, when my internet works at least, you can catch me at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. In addition to Pseudoregalia, I tend to specialize in indie or like old school, or not old school, but like early aughts games that generally tend to fly under the radar. So if you want to find some more weird stuff like Pseudoregalia or, I don't know, like Neopets the Darkest Fairy, then you know where to find me, twitch.tv/Jaxler1. Satan, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And also, just a quick note, something else is happening on Tuesday of SGDQ 2025, right, Jaxler?
That is correct. I completely forgot about that. I will also be running in the event that same day. I am running a game called Sea Frog. It is a 2D skateboardvania. You heard that right? Skateboardvania.
Awesomer than it sounds, I promise.
Yes. It is super sick. It's going to be a race of Kraken percent between myself and Icewind Fly. That will be the same day as Pseudoregalia. So if you're up for Pseudoregalia, you'll be up for our run too, probably. So check that out. Sea Frog's another really cool game. So, and who knows? We may or may not be planning something for a little something. Maybe that's spoilers, though. I don't know.
Okay, we will avoid spoilers for now, but we will not avoid how fantastic that render was. Thank you so much for being here, Jaxler. What a fantastic experience. And yeah, thank you, chat, for being here as well. But that is going to conclude our episode of Creature Corner today. We had a great time. We had laughs. We had loves. I don't know. We did cool Metroidvania stuff. We speedran announcements. But if you missed out on Out of the Box or Creature Corner, you can stay tuned as we replay both shows after this. And tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for Perilous Path and